People expect me to talk about my weight loss after losing 80 pounds, like it has somehow fixed my whole life and my whole world. But I just don't see it that way. And I want people to understand that there is still so much work to be done, no matter how grateful and how different my life is. It's not a one fix. And I think it is something that we really, truly need to talk about. Welcome back, my friends. I am Cheryl. This is my channel where I have been documenting my weight loss journey for almost 2 years now. It's been 23 months and a couple of days. Crazy, 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 crazy to me. I have lost 80 pounds with the help and aid of Zepbound, a GLP-1 medication. And I come here on the internet regularly, and I am very raw and very honest with all of you. And some people have commented that, why would you want to put yourself out there? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want people to think it's so hard? Why wouldn't I? Why would I want to lie to everyone? I feel like a lot of the internet and social media is kind of romanticizing weight loss and this whole new world, and like, oh, I've lost some weight and look at me and my life is perfect now. Guys, that is just not the case at all. And I don't ever want anyone to think that I am coming here to you bragging about losing 80 pounds and look at how great my life is, and I can go out and I can hike a mountain and everything is peachy keen and wonderful. There is so much that is fantastic and amazing and wonderful. And I am so thankful and so grateful every single solitary day. Weight loss has improved my life dramatically. It has improved my health beyond what I have ever imagined. My chronic kidney disease is barely on the charts at this point. I no longer have fatty liver disease. I'm no longer at cardiac risk. There are no numbers that are anywhere near pre-diabetic. I am more mobile, more energetic. So many amazing, wonderful things that I am so grateful for. But this was not a fairy tale transformation. Yes, you're only seeing this much of my life. And I definitely try to put out to everyone the positives, obviously. But this has been a lot of work, and this has been an exhausting journey, one that I hope will continue for the rest of my life. But by no means has it been easy, and I don't want anybody thinking that I'm living in this fantasy world, that everything is wonderful and peachy keen. One thing for sure that a lot of people aren't talking about, and I have been trying to recognize more and more recently in my recent videos, is that the mental work doesn't disappear. Obesity definitely has many layers, but our mental health is definitely a part of that. And the deeper I get onto this journey, the more I'm realizing that. And some things, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not quite ready to even start chipping away at, if we're being real. Old habits still creep in. There are still days where my mind is running ragged, and it can be 2 days after shot day, and my mind is still doing a mental inventory of the closet, the refrigerator, the freezer. There's still days that I still have cravings. Old habits don't die. We just try to use the tools that we've been given to find other ways to tame that beast. Body image doesn't magically heal. So let me tell you, I still look in the mirror and I still see the fluffy girl that I was my entire life. I am still struggling with that. I don't anticipate that just going away anytime soon. But body image for someone who has suffered from obesity for decades is real, and it doesn't magically heal. Life stress still exists, my friends. The bills still have to be paid. The mortgage is still there. Kids are always a prevalent part of my life. Marriage doesn't just magically become better. I think there was also a part of me that thought that if I could just get my weight and my health into check, then my marriage would just fall into place the way that everything was meant to be, and I wouldn't need to work as hard at it. And if nothing else, I'm realizing that we have to work even harder. Trauma is still there, and that's something that just recently has been a big realization to me. Something that I think if you go back to my very beginning videos when my doctor first prescribed Zepbound to me, she kept harping on trauma, and I was getting very upset and very defensive about it. And it's only been in the last month or so that I've been realizing how much past trauma has probably contributed to my obesity. And I have been in severe denial about that for a very long time. Responsibility still exists. We still have to get up in the morning. We still have to go to work. We still have to do all of the adulting that we needed to do when I was 80 pounds heavier. So that doesn't really change. I still have to do all of those things. I still have to get up, make the breakfasts, make the lunches, prepare the meals, do the meal plan, clean the house, do the laundry. My God, the laundry never stops. None of that stuff stops because you lose weight. As much as I kind of was hoping that it would, yeah, it just doesn't. I have been criticized for being too honest online sometimes. And I really am as honest as I can because, number one, that's just who I am. My husband tells me all the time that my face cannot lie. I'm a very open book type of person. If you ask me a direct question, I just can't lie. I don't know how. And even if I tried, I think you would immediately know. So I couldn't be anything but honest and authentic and pure here on the internet. But I don't think it's fair to romanticize this journey for people who are either one, considering it for their health, considering it for weight loss, and weighing out the positives, the pros and the cons on spending a large amount of money. And I don't want to romanticize that and set people up to be disappointed. So it's not that I'm trying to come here to be negative Nelly and tell people like these are the bad things. But again, I just don't feel that romanticizing all of this journey is really fair to anyone out there considering whether or not they should begin a GLP-1. It is a very hard journey. It is something that you need to work at, and probably need to work at if you're like myself and you had an excessive amount of weight to lose and still lose. You come to the realization that this is a lifelong journey. This is not an adventure that you're going to get to complete and then have these amazing results to show everybody in a picture book. This is a journey that will continue for me forever. And I do know several people who set out to lose that 20, 30, 40 pounds and are already gaining back or have gained back because they were looking for that quick fix. And I am very open and honest with even close friends of mine when I tell them that's just not the reality. This needs to be a mindset forever. And again, people I think are just making it kind of this fairy tale, like, oh, I can just take the shot and I can lose this weight and then my life will be great. And I'm just here to tell you that that's not really, it's not that simple. Healing and weight loss can happen at the same time, but they are not the same thing. And sometimes I think that's why I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm in a stall, because I've lost almost a pound in the past week. Um, but why my weight loss has slowed a little bit, because more recently I've been kind of putting those two things together and realizing that there's a lot of healing that needs to happen on this journey. And I think it's very hard to be doing them both at the same time. Um, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I think it's a little bit more difficult to be focusing on what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my body, fueling my body the right way, and focusing on healing my mind and my heart all at the same time. I kind of feel like at this point, I need to take a step back from one to concentrate on the other. And I'm still trying to figure out which one um, is going to take precedence at this point. So, um, real life continues after the scale moves. And I just think that it's really important for people on this journey to understand that um, you might get to where you need to be goal wise, but real life is going to continue. And those things that may have led you to putting weight on are still there. So we need to have all of the tools in place um, in order to do so. So, in closing, I just want you all to know, again, I am not trying to diminish any of your progress. I am not trying to be negative about it. I just feel like for a really long time before this journey, I had almost romanticized what weight loss would look like for me if I could get there. Um, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to any of you before, but I'm actually a writer. I was a writer for a large portion of my life. I wrote for some newspapers and magazines, race oriented, because that's what I knew and that's what I had access to, and jobs were being given to me. But in my own time, I always wrote in journals and stuff. And actually, I got rid of them. I kind of wish I had kept them, but I would write short stories and I would write long content, and they were always very like the girl lives happily ever after kind of thing. And in my mind, I always kind of put the two things together, that if I could just lose the weight, then I would live happily ever after. And I am here to tell you that that is not quite the case. I am living happily ever after. Believe me, I am very happy. I have a very blessed life. I know that. I have a husband who loves me. I have parents who are still with me. I have brothers and a sister, and I have 3 of the most amazing children and the most unbelievable grandchild. And I have a daughter-in-law who I have an amazing relationship, and a maybe someday future daughter-in-law who's also my coworker. We travel domestically a couple of times a year. We get to spend time with extended family, and I know how truly blessed I am and what a blessed and fortunate life I have. But I also want you all to know that losing weight doesn't just fix everything. There's a lot more work out there. So just remember that you are doing amazing. You are doing as good as you can right now in this moment. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the best that I can right this second, always coming to you with as much authenticity and honesty as humanly possible. Okay, my friends, I am going to go get some chicken. We got about 7 inches out there already right now. And I think I'm gonna go make some chicken stew. Maybe chicken and dumplings, but I don't know if my son would like that. Let me go see what I can prepare. All right, my friends, thank you all so much for being here. You know how much I love and adore each and every one of you. If you are new here, I would love it if you would stick around, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, do all the things. Remember, my friends, when you can't find the sunshine, you go out and you be the sunshine. Bye.